Hello, this is Alex, and I want to give you a warm welcome to this guided presentation titled How to Completely Dissolve and Banish Cigarette Cravings, the Definitive Guide. Before we begin, if you have already puffed on a cigarette, then that's quite okay. Because a non-smoker can puff on a cigarette and still not be a smoker. They are just a non-smoker who just had a puff or two. Same goes with inhaling multiple toxic fumes from a cigarette. A person can be reminded just how dangerous and disgusting they are. So please just see it as an isolated incident. Now, if you haven't done so already, you must watch the video that's included in your original post-session email called The 7 Self-Saboteurs and How to Best Avoid Them After Quitting Smoking. Okay. If you are watching this video, then you are led to believe you are experiencing pangs or cravings to smoke a cigarette. As Marco said during your session with him, smoking cigarettes is much like being in an abusive one-sided relationship. And with any abusive one-sided relationship, it will try to worm its way back in and make an attempt to charm you for old time's sake. But you can be totally ready for it until it eventually gives up trying. And remember, what you're truly giving up are the lies that cigarettes have promised you throughout the years. In many, if not most instances, cravings are really just emotional discomfort. Here are a few questions that will help you understand whether this craving is emotionally driven. Whenever you think you desire a cigarette, just first ask yourself, do I really want to smoke, or do I just want to change the way I feel? Then ask yourself, what am I feeling right now, and what is it I truly want to feel? Asking yourself these two great questions will give you two great answers. So that's one way of differentiating real cravings from emotional discomfort. Okay, I will now illustrate another point. Cravings are much like cuts or bruises in the body. You didn't realize them at the time it happened, until you probably stopped what you were doing and then you noticed it. When you're too busy living life on your terms, you remember to forget any minor sensations. But here is the question. Where was the pain during the time from when it happened to the moment just before you noticed it? Here's another relevant scenario. During the age of COVID-19, you may be wearing a mask, and after a while, you soon forget you're wearing it. Or, for those who wear glasses, many people who wear glasses will tell you they may go searching for their glasses only to spot them in the mirror. As it turns out, they have been sitting on top of their head. Another way of looking at the idea of cravings is this. Any sensations you may experience is a sign that the body is healing and the toxins are clearing. It's a genuine sign that the toxins are leaving the body. Now, nicotine eventually exits the body between 1 to 3 days after someone has stopped smoking. So if a person still craves a cigarette after that period of time, then it's not a physiological addiction, it's purely psychological. In other words, if you have quit beyond a few days, then this is not a nicotine craving, because that particular poison has left the body during the initial few days. Still, there are many who have quit their habit without turning back. Just look at pregnant women. If the nicotine was so addictive as we are told it is, why aren't people addicted to nicotine patches? Sure, you may hear someone being addicted to nicotine gum, but that's because the physical activity of chewing the gum has been habitualized. What's addictive is the physical action of chewing, not the nicotine. You just want to separate yourself from conventional thinking and challenge the status quo. It's all based on perceptions. Let's get back to you and explore this perception of cigarette craving, shall we? Enter the craving destroyer technique. This will eliminate any cravings or pangs you may have in under a minute or two. There is a natural law of the human mind that states, what you resist will persist. What you accept will grant you power to transform it. The harder you try to push this thought or feeling away, and the more energy you put into it, the harder it becomes to avoid. So wouldn't it be wise to take all the energy out of it and put it back into your freedom symbol? This following technique applies to a feeling or sensation in the body. Okay, let's begin. So you really do want a cigarette, don't you? And how do you know? Okay. Again, let me repeat the following psychological principle. What you resist will persist. What you accept will grant you power to transform it. I remember being in a group of friends where I was experiencing some blushing. I felt the heat on my face and I felt it beginning to glow red. Now, rather than me trying to deny the blushing, I acknowledged it and accepted it. By not denying it, I removed its power, and as a result, the blushing soon disappeared. So, in the past, when you decided to quit using willpower, you would say, "I don't want a cigarette," or "I really don't want it," and you would try to push it away. Well, there's a few issues going on here. Firstly, when you try to not think of it, you very well know where that leads you. Willpower. And willpower is quite counterproductive. Here's what I mean. Just try this. Whatever you do, don't think of a little black cat. Don't think of a little black cat climbing a green tree. Don't think of a white dog jumping up the green tree trying to get the little black cat. Don't think of that little black cat winking at the white dog saying, "Ha! You can't get me." What's happening inside you? Well, all that willpower with all that energy you created is going right into the picture of what you don't want, what you're trying not to imagine or think of. And your inner mind unconsciously responds to that picture and not to the energy from your willpower. In other words, you're feeding energy into the wrong pictures. I will soon explain how to do it differently. Secondly, the harder you push, the more energy you put into the thought. It grows larger and larger until it becomes impossible to resist. So how about we take that energy out and redirect it back into freedom? Here's what you're going to do. Focus your attention on that tingling sensation. Wherever it is in the body, really just focus on that. It could be in your chest, your belly, your tongue. Wherever it is, just place your attention there and focus on it. I'll give you a brief moment to do that. Okay. Now, if it's a really strong sensation, just separate it in your mind into two halves. Then take one half, place your attention on that, then divide it in half again. Now you're just focusing on 1/4. That's it. And really focus on that quarter. Now, as you're focusing on that, just go through that feeling and tell me, what's behind it? What's behind that feeling? And beyond that feeling, what do you sense? How do you know? And beyond that, what else do you sense? Just go through it and feel that feeling now. And as you drop through that, what's on the other side? You really don't know, do you? How are you feeling right now? If you're doing this correctly, you would be feeling kind of spaced out. And you do feel spaced out, don't you? Now notice. Look around you for your freedom symbol. There it is. And how do you feel now? You do feel a sense of relief, don't you? And what happened to that craving? It's gone. You mean it's gone already? In under a minute? How did you do that? Well, that's the power that you have. That's the power that you have within you. Should any craving ever try and sneak up on you, you know you have that power. Just try it for yourself. Just put yourself in a situation with your friends who are smoking, drinking and laughing, and one says, "Hey, have a cigarette." And you say, "No." How do you feel? That's the power you have. Now, if you have a minor craving after using the Craving Destroyer and you're really afraid you might start smoking again, I want you to really listen and consider fully. As you're feeling that craving sensation, what aren't you paying attention to, which allows you to remember the symbol of freedom and what it represents for you? What have you not considered beyond this pang that you're experiencing now, which allows you to drop through it to the other side to find freedom? And as you consider that fully, realizing that you really can make it, and you have that symbol of freedom for a reason, because you are free and you know what it means to be smoke-free and to stay smoke-free for the rest of your life. That's right, because now that you've made it through this as a non-smoker, and if anything else has been left over from that craving, even just a tinge or small amount, then go ahead and use your Craving Destroyer again to dissolve what's left. You can repeat these steps anytime you need because you know you can do this. It's just your mind, and it's there for you to discover how you can control your own thoughts and thinking. Okay, more craving-breaking tips. In addition to that, here are more tips for you. Firstly, ask yourself this question whenever you are thinking about a cigarette. Beyond what you're thinking, what's everything else that's so much more rewarding in every way? Remember what was highlighted in your original quit smoking preparation form. For each reason you listed, write down alternative ways to reach the same benefit. Because whenever those cigarettes are whispering to you, trying to worm their way back in and charm you for old time's sake, you will be totally ready for it, until it eventually gives up trying. Because when you realize it's just an old, out-of-date memory, when you realize it's an old, out-of-date habit, it doesn't even try and tempt you anymore. Like a bully, it knows it can't push its victim around anymore. Therefore, it doesn't even bother trying. So go beyond the thought and feeling and show it who's boss. Also, please realize this. It's quite natural to feel sensations or thoughts after officially quitting smoking. But they are only sensations, and they will arise and fall away, and thoughts will come and go. It's the meaning that's attached to those sensations which ultimately make it feel better or worse. See it as your body is naturally detoxing and healing. It's cleansing rather than craving. Think about what Marco said with switching to a new car or buying and wearing a new pair of shoes. You're easing right into it. That being said, just take one strong breath in your nose if you are experiencing a pang or craving effect. Then exhale quickly through your mouth and remember your freedom symbol from your quit smoking session and feel it returning. Breathe it in and the comfort will return and you'll feel better. More at ease. Whatever challenges you think you have, don't challenge the challenges. Just begin to accept them. Through acceptance, challenges will become opportunities for you to continuously grow without effort as a non-smoker. So please remember, you will get through this. Because you now hold the master key in freeing yourself from the tyranny of cigarettes. You have been fed up living under the grip of a mental dictatorship, but no more. Here's a great quote I would like you to remember. Addiction is the only prison where the locks are on the inside. You have the key to unlock and free yourself. Free your mind and let your life be free. Just allow that to sink in. In the meantime, start this brand new day by rehearsing your alternative ways to reach the same perceived benefits as smoking. Now, it's crucial you rehearse your smoke-free days with alternative smoke-free ways. those rehearsals become your new reality. By rehearsing in your inner world, it reflects in your outer world. Additional resources to remain smoke-free. Here are some other resources you can use to help the transition out of the physical habit. Sipping water. Sipping water is refreshing and healthy, whilst giving you something to do with your hands. Lemon juice. You can get small, squeezy bottles of highly concentrated lemon juice. If you have a tongue or mouth craving, simply put a couple of drops on your tongue. Then swish it around. It totally disrupts the taste sensation that some people get when they have a tongue or mouth craving. Alternatively, you can dilute the lemon juice concentrate to the point where it is still very strong, put it in a hip flask, and take a swig when you need to. Another alternative method is to use unsweetened grapefruit juice for the same effect. On the topic of juice, here's one final strategy. For your first 3 days free from cigarettes, keep a small bottle of fruit juice by your side and normalize sugar cravings whilst your insulin levels heals and corrects itself. Just sip on the fruit juice about once an hour. That will take out sugar cravings and, after the first few days, you're truly on your way there. Drinking something sweet like fruit juice for a few days will keep spiking your sugar levels. This is because that little spike maintains the happy chemicals in your body, which can mask any pangs you may have. But please note, check with a doctor to make sure you aren't diabetic. Also, stop this after a few days. Your freedom letters. Telling people you have quit smoking in writing can be very beneficial in making you more accountable for your actions, whilst expecting them to be supportive in your transition to a non-smoker. A template letter, in the form of an email, has been provided for you in your post-session email. Just fill in the blanks in that template, which you can send to some of your family and friends. Again, allow me to repeat this. It's important that you write an email to 2 to 3 people you care about and tell them how you've quit smoking and how you feel great. Firstly, it reminds you why you've quit. The reasons reinforce that motivation. Secondly, it also creates social commitment. You're externally committing to the rest of the world that you are a non-smoker, and the rest of the world will start treating you as a non-smoker. You're also getting your social network to support you, rather than to sabotage you. The template in your original email is already ready for you. Also, where it's possible and applicable, you can write a letter to a deceased loved one or to your children. So without question, these freedom letters are very useful and very powerful. Final thoughts of support. I just want to leave you with some final thoughts of support. If you haven't quite graduated into being completely smoke-free, it just means you're not 100% there just yet. Always remember that Marco is here for you, and as he's mentioned before, he is 100% committed to helping you succeed, if you haven't done so already. A personal motto for both MCH and Hypnotist NYC is not seeing an outcome as failure, but seeing it as a setback, or that true success has been slightly delayed. Even if there is a temporary setback, just dust yourself off and make your way back on track again. No matter how difficult this may be, you'll get through it. The ability to accept a setback as part of the process ensures you remain resilient even during the toughest of storms. You know that saying, the calm before the storm? Well, it can seem stormy before the calmness. Eventually, that sunlight will shine through. The only request I have is please do review the tools and techniques Marco has sent in your post-session email. If you've seen a great reduction, then you are in the transition of quitting smoking, which translates to truly being on your path of becoming smoke-free. That being said, if you desire a follow-up conversation, please don't hesitate in reaching out to Marco. Sometimes further minor adjustment and tweaking is needed. Just remember, nothing is more wasted than a missed opportunity. Marco is here lending his hand to you, but it's up to you to reach out and take it. Anyway, he has complete faith in you. Just remember to stay strong. Keep your eyes on the prize and your mind on that winning feeling. So with that said, congratulations for making it to the end of this guided presentation. That's about it from me. Now live your life knowing you have the mental and emotional tools to not only dissolving any cigarette cravings, but how to completely banish them too. My name is Alex, and as always, thank you for watching.